Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds. Today we're taking one of our more popular short series and we're making it into a long form video, baby.
It's terrible cards with amazing potential.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds, bringing you daily Commander content every single day. Happy birthday to whoever's day it is. Tomorrow, the next person's birthday. Great, everyone's birthday. Go to the patreon.com link in the description to support us for making videos on your birthday.
Yeah, that's the best way to support us, honestly, ever. And if you want to support us by supporting yourself and supporting your addiction to Magic the Gathering, well, tcgplayer.com is the best way to do that. Affiliate link in the description below. Click that link and guess what? As long as you have started with that link, every card you buy now, you're going to be supporting the Nitpicking Nerds. We get a kickback. You spent no extra money.
Looking for even more extra credit? Dragon Shield. Buy the sleeves directly from the site if you use our link, which is an affiliate link for US or EU folks. Boom. Even more support for the nerds. Even the same money spent for you.
Literally, yeah. Go buy. I would strongly if you have some design that you want, custom sleeves, they're amazing. They're really high quality for custom sleeves. I mean, I don't know of anyone who's one even doing it and two doing it well. So Dragon Shield's doing both of those.
Higher price point. Way worth it. We have so many Nitpicking Nerds custom sleeves.
They look great.
Okay, we got to get into this. This is cards that just suck. These cards are not good, but as we know, the Commander format allows for bad cards to shine in specific decks. So these cards are just pretty trashy overall. They don't see play on like almost anything. But in this X-specific Commander deck, they're going to be awesome.
Yes, if I take one of these cards and I throw it in the random Commander deck, guess what? It's going to stink. Now, like you can just think of like things like Ristic Sites, like that's a card that doesn't require any synergy. These cards require so much, they have so much synergy within these decks, it takes them from being a steaming pile of poop to a steaming pile of awesome card.
Steaming pile of scoop for your opponents.
I like that.
Boom.
I like that a lot. Let's move into our first one. We did single color, colorless, and then we did the two color pairs. And if you want to see more of this, obviously you're going to let us know in the description. You're going to tell us how much you love the series. First one, this card sucks. It is Glinthawk. It's a 1-mana 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, return an artifact you control to your hand.
Downside.
That's downside on it for a 2/2 flyer, which isn't very good. Now, what deck are we going to throw this in? Well, we're going to throw it into Teshar, Ancestor's Apostle. 3 and away for a 2/2 bird cleric flying. Whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Well, I'm sure you're connecting some dots in your head here. Sack Outlet, 0 mana artifact, it's an infinite loop. It's that easy. Play your 0 mana artifact, get your Glinthawk back, bounce that 0 mana artifact to your hand, sacrifice it, put it back in the graveyard, play that same artifact again. If that artifact has any effect, it probably doesn't because it's a 0 mana artifact, but you can just do this infinitely. You can pay it off 10,000 ways.
Altar of Dementia?
Exactly. If Altar of Dementia is your sack outlet, you can infinitely mill the whole table out. Glinthawk is not going in any decks. It is horrible. But this Teshar's unique design just takes this poop card and just like, well, it's actually part of my infinite combo.
You actually have to watch out. If it's in my graveyard, you should be scared of Glinthawk.
Literally.
Remember Standard and Scars of Mirrodin block?
If Teshar is on the battlefield and there's a Glinthawk in the graveyard, they could just go infinite the next turn easily. That's
because of this card, too.
It's
not
pretty
even
insane.
like it's it's a replaceable thing. It's like, this just happens to be this. It's like just Glinthawk is really unique in how poopy it is. Next, we're moving down Rulberg, and then we got all the 2 colors. So the next one is Moonlace. You may know it as a blue for an instant. Target permanent or spell becomes colorless. Now that is definitely worth a card because if you have too many cards in your hand, you can play Moonlace, and then you'll have 1 less card in your hand. So that really just helps avoid the discard stuff.
This card is awful. This card is absolutely not even close to playable in Commander. It is awful.
You're probably guessing where this is going because this card is actually insane in Orvar, the All form. He's 3 and a blue for a 3/3. He's a changeling, but when you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if it targets one or more permanents you control, you create a token that's a copy of one of those. It also has flavor text, but I'm not going to read that because it never matters.
It definitely doesn't matter here at all. So Moonlace actually just becomes clone.
Instant speed, 1 mana clone.
Instant speed, 1 mana clone. Now there's a million of these that go in this deck. There's like slip through space. There's ones that let you draw. There's a million better ones. But the fact that we get Moonlace is still good. It's a playable card in this deck. The fact that it's even possible is like, woo! That is shocking.
In every other deck in Magic, it might as well be like the red 9 from Uno because you're just never going to get any value out of this card at all. I'm thinking, so here's what I'm thinking, right? You're playing Orvar. Somebody goes to Red Elemental Blast, your best creature, and you go, Moonlace, make it colorless, copy it.
Oh, now that's so good.
That's magical Christmas land.
That is the spot where it's actually good. It's like you're playing in such a competitive meta.
The one spot ever. Ever.
Yeah, this card is awful, but I love that it becomes good in Orvar. Next, we have Smallpox. This says each player sacrifices a creature, discards a card, loses a life, and sacrifices a land. Now this is a medium effect. It's just not good enough for Commander. We're doing it to ourselves. It's never going to make your deck. It's not good enough. Unless you're playing Turgid, God of Fright. Whenever a player sacrifices a permanent or discards a permanent, it just goes from their graveyard to your battlefield. This is potentially 9 permanents coming to your side for 2 mana. You get the land they sacrifice, you get all 3 lands for sure, and you get all 3 creatures for sure. Then they have to discard. If it's a permanent, it's coming to your side. Now, I don't know if you know this, but if you're just early in the game, people tend to just want to discard their larger spells because, they're like, oh man,
worse. This is
a 9 mana spell. I'm not going to be able to cast it anytime soon. But I'd rather leave it in my hand because I don't want. It makes their discarding harder. Oh god, Turgid is just a house. She makes so many bad cards good. She makes Thoughtseize a playable card in Commander. Yeah, that's insane.
It just really turns the screws. And I know our friend Tim was like, Smallpox is bad, and then we brought it all the way back by saying it's good in Turgid because he plays this deck. And if it goes off, you're probably just going to win because you set them back lands. They can't discard bangers because then you get them when you win. So you're just so far ahead. Make their hand worse. They have to discard a relevant spell because they can't discard the Avenger of Zendikar. They can't discard Terastodon. Just nuts advantage and versus, everybody loses a land. Okay, this wasn't very good. Everybody loses a land and everybody discards a card, which is normally okay. You're even, except you played Smallpox, so you're down another card. So it's just not even that positive for you.
It's not that positive. You have to build around. Smallpox is a card that in the decks it's built around to an extent that it's going to not hurt you as bad as it hurts others. You can't do that in Commander because you can't build around a card in a 9/9 unless it's ridiculously powerful, which Smallpox is not.
Yes, so let's move on to red. We got Flame Rift. 1 in a red. Deals 4 to each player, baby. You want symmetrical, except you're down a card? Deal 4 to each player. You start at 40, so that's 10% of everyone's life total, including yours. Can't cast it if you're low on life. Doesn't even have an impact if you do cast it, except when you're going Neheb the Eternal in your command zone, because he says at the beginning of your post-combat main, guess what? You get mana equal to the damage dealt to opponents, so this becomes 1 in a red, pay 4 life, deal 4 damage to each opponent, add 12 red mana to your mana pool.
Is a ritual that says 1 in a red, make 12 mana good?
Only if it also dishes out 12 damage.
Oh, okay, yeah. This card is bonkers. It just becomes the biggest ritual. This, Price of Progress is at least somewhat playable, because that can actually be a lethal spell.
It's a big damage.
And other, I can see other decks wanting to play that card. Flame Rift, I never want to touch this card. Never, ever. This card is so bad.
It doesn't even work in the similar decks. Your Torbrands, you're playing burn spells. Not this one. It just upgrades to 6. That's not even that much better. Still, this card is not worth playing. But Neheb's like, no, let me turn that into super Jessica's Will.
Yeah, he takes burn spells and turns them burn spells, especially when they hit all players, and turns it into a ritual. That is amazing. I don't know if you've ever played. I've played against the Neheb deck. That card is bonkers.
You gotta watch out.
It's so good. It just could end at any time because the card's so powerful.
Yes. How about green? We actually talked about this card.
Yeah, it's Ram Through. It's a card that we've probably put in almost no decks. It's 1 in the green instant. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control, and if it has trample, the excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller. That's bad. That's not a good rate. You can get blown out. But
we'll talk about that.
in Glinthawk, Primal Hunger, basically a 2-mana 12/12 with, trample. This is not only a removal spell for anything with 11 or less toughness, it's also a burn spell.
Yeah, man, we talked about this card in another video, and everybody rushed to defend Ram Through because sometimes your deck has kind of a decent amount of creatures with trample, and then it's a situational burn spell. But if you don't have a creature with trample, it is unplayable bulk chaff. So I think this goes from unplayable bulk chaff to what it actually is standard to a good card in Glinthawk. I don't even think it's a great card, but it is definitely the best it'll ever be because your commander is always a 12/12 with trample. It's really easy to have Glinthawk out, specifically this creature over any other one ever printed, because it's always going to be 2, 3, 4 mana. You're going to have reliable Ram Through access. So it's just going to be a nice little Doomblade that deals 8 damage to the opponent. That's nice. You just can never almost any other deck just cannot reliably do this enough to the point where it ever matters that you dealt the damage. Some decks, people are like, I use this as a win condition. If you're using ram through as a win condition, I think you can just swap it for like 20 other cards that are just going to win the game anyway. Like if you're ram throughing, you can Chandra's Ignition to win. You can Overwhelming Stampede to win. I don't know why we need ram through as the win condition. There's extra hoops.
Yeah, ram through is poop. It's poop in 99% of decks. Glinthawk is probably the only exception. It is literally a 12-12 with trample. You're just not going to do better than that. And even in that situation where we have that, this card's still okay.
Yeah.
This isn't a broken or busted card. It is good in the deck, but it's not broken or busted. And that's with the most extreme example that even comes close to being extreme example.
Yeah, I just think of the opportunity cost of what you're not playing over this.
There's so many good removal spells. Next, we're doing a cardless one. This is a card, this might be controversial, but a bad card. Lion's Eye Diamond. Now, I want you to just take Lion's Eye Diamond. Think of any deck you have randomly. Don't pick one, and now put it in. It's probably bad. I would say it's probably at least like 90% of decks. This card can never go in, and it's awful on those. Now, obviously, this is a huge combo piece for CEDH, and there are great decks for it sometimes. But where it really shines, and it takes this card that is like poop in 99 whatever percent of situations and makes it great, Kozolek, the Great Distortion. Oh my god, I absolutely love this. Because, well, the downside is you have to discard your hand to make 3 mana. That's usually not good enough to make, like we said, most decks, because guess what? You can't cast a spell from your hand like that, because it literally is worded. It says you can only cast it at a time you would cast an instant. It's so weird.
It just basically says discard your hand. You have no hand. Now you have the mana.
Yeah, exactly. It is worded the weirdest way, because it has to be worded that way in order to make it so you can't cast spells with it.
Because that would just be Black Lotus. I mean, that's so close to Black Lotus.
That would be actually bonkers. But Kozolek the Great Distortion says you draw up to 7 cards in your hand. Oh wait, we just discarded a whole hand. Fresh new 7. I'm in. This is awesome. It's also a cast trigger, super hard to counter.
If you're casting Kozolek, it is literally Black Lotus, because you can just pitch the cards in your hand, and then you draw back up to 7, and you now have counter magic for your Kozolek once it sticks. Kozolek is worded in just the best way ever for this card. You draw up to 7, then Kozolek goes into play, and now he's protected from any removal because you got the 7 cards first. It just works so perfectly. And then in the late game, it's possible that you get your plays out, you kind of empty your hand, and then Lion's Eye Diamond can just, turn into an Eldrazi or something, power out an Ulamog. It's just so useful in this deck because the deck is puke out my hand, play Kozolek on turn 3, and this is so good at that.
Yeah. I think literally the most interesting thing about this conversation here is I would, Lion's Eye Diamond is bad in Commander. That's what I would say. I would just say that line and feel fine saying it. I mean, there's exceptions to every rule, obviously.
Like Glinthawk is good in Teshar, but it's bad in Commander. I mean, Lion's Eye Diamond, we know in 60 card, 4 of formats, it is Nutter Butters.
Yeah, obviously. So I'm going to say LED, bad in Commander for the most part.
I'm going to say LED, too finicky to bother with most of the time. That's what I'll put it as. Time for the gold cards. The first one, Knowledge Pool. This is a 6-mana artifact, and in Prince, each player exiles the top 3 cards in their library. Whenever a player casts a spell from their hand, they exile it. If the player does, they can cast a spell from among other cards exiled with this nonsense without paying their mana cost. It's like a poopy group hug card that is never going to go your way, except what if your commander is Lavinia, Azorius Renegade? Well, now you have a 2-card combo because she reads, whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. You've now locked them out of casting spells forever, and you have no downside.
This is a 2-card, pretty much. It's not a hard lock. There are ways out of it.
Soft lock.
There's few and far between. This is absolutely backbreaking, and it's going to win you the game 99% of the times you resolve it. Knowledge Pool is literally trash. You don't want to play this card in your deck because why are we jumping through this hoop to potentially cast some spells and do this weird thing? It's just not a good card. But guess what? Well, Lavinia, it's actually an amazing card. It's actually a 2-card lock piece.
Right. So just absolutely nuts in that deck. Next.
Well, it's Floating Dream Zubera and Ashen Skin Zubera. Now, both of these say that when they die equal to the number of Zuberas that have died this turn, you either draw cards or target opponent discards. Well, those are just okay.
They're terrible.
You know what? Why did I say they were okay? I said Lion's Eye Diamond was bad. I think I can safely say Floating Dream Zubera, Ashen Skin Zubera, actually factually bad Magic cards. Now, where can we make these playable? It's an Arami, which gives things in your graveyard encore, which means you pay a cost. It comes back copied for each opponent you have. And then you can just sacrifice them all. All their triggers go on the stack. And now guess what? 3 Zuberas have died this turn. Boom. Each player discards 3 cards, or this player discards 6, this one discards 3. We draw 9 cards. Is any of this good, BZ?
What's important is there's no triggers to stack. The Encore tokens come out, they hit, and then what the Encore says is they're all gone at the same time. So you don't have to, it's not like, let's say you get Floating Dream Zubera, and you attack with all 3 and they get through or whatever. So now you have 3 Zuberas, but the end step, they just all go to the Encore trigger. It says sacrifice those tokens. They don't gain anything individually. So now you've got 3 Zubera triggers asking how many Zuberas died this turn. Well, the answer is 3, 3, and 3. So you draw 3, 3, and 3. And you just draw 9 cards for 2 mana.
Yeah, you're right. You don't have to stack triggers unless. I was thinking if you want to Encore second main with this, because you don't want them to have to attack.
Right, you can just do that.
Yeah, which is what you can do. You just do it second main. Now, if you Encore before and they're going to be attacking, you just want to sacrifice them to one of your sack outlets you're going to have on the battlefield, like a 1/1/1. They're all going to just trigger and check how many have died this turn. It's going to be 3. But yeah, just be careful. Just do it during your second main phase so this works.
Worst case scenario, you sack 1, draw 1, sack 1, draw 2, sack the third one, draw 3. That still draws 6 for 2 mana.
Still very
These
strong.
cards are nuts in Arami. I don't think enough people are playing them.
Yeah, very good cards. What's next?
We got Immolating Soul Eater. You know, the common from New Phyrexia. It's 2 mana for a 1/1, and you just pay 2 life or a red mana to give it +1/+0. Okay? But Greven, Predator Captain, says when he attacks, you sacrifice another creature. You draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power, and you lose life equal to its toughness. Well, its toughness is 1. Its power is who knows. And then Greven has a static ability that says he gets +X/+0, where X is the amount of life you've lost this turn. It could just be 30. You can just pay 30 life, make a 15/1, draw 15, lose 1 life, and kill somebody.
It's lose life in increments of 2 at will. And that's really strong, it turns out, in a deck that wants you to be paying life. And on top of wanting to be paid life, it wants powers to be higher than toughness is. And guess what? We're doing that too.
Yeah, Immolating Soul Eater, just the most bottom of the barrel, forget it existed, bulk, chaff, butts. And in Greven, you have to kill it or die.
It's almost literally, it's funny. It's if I could design a card for Greven to make Greven good, this is like it. This is like almost a perfect design. Like, this is Greven's card. Yeah. This is his soulmate. This might as well be called like Greven's pet or Greven's familiar, because this is so, it literally just screams Greven and nothing else.
Right. It's Greven's
Soul
boy with an eye. Greven's boy.
It's Greven's boy.
Right. And then the flavor text is, it's your boy. All right. Sprouting Vines sucks because it's 2 and a green for an instant. Search your library for a basic land, put it in your hand, and then it has Storm because it's a Storm card. So you're going to Lay of the Land with Storm. I don't know if you're trying to go off on your turn or you're waiting for somebody else to cast 3 spells, but when your commander is Borborygmos Enraged, you can chuck lands from your hand to deal 3. So if somebody sets up a big turn or you set up a big turn, storm them off, and this is now Lightning Bolt with Storm.
Yeah, that's much, much stronger. You cast a bunch of spells, and then you just get as many lands as you possibly can to your hand. And usually that's like it's like, how is that my Storm payoff? My Storm payoff is to put 7 lands in my hand? Whee! Well, that sucked. That wasn't good at all.
Yeah.
But it would be if I could, discard them to bolt stuff.
Yeah, there's since you're in a green-red ramp, there's lines you can do where you're playing this, and then you're Eternal Witnessing back, and then you're playing it again for the same Storm +2. There's lines that put lands back into your deck. There's so many ways to get this going, and it's so funny because this card is so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
Like I said, it's like your Storm payoff is Lay of the Lands. Oh, good God, that's so bad. Until you get 3, you're not getting your mana's worth. Oh, God, I got to Storm 2 and then cast this, and then it's a bad triple Lay of the Land? Oh, God, what happened?
Well, what happened is you put the wrong card in your deck, unless you have Borborygmos. Yeah. How about the next one? I like this one a lot.
This is Phyrexian Dreadnought. Is a 1-mana artifact creature Phyrexian Dreadnought, 12/12. When it enters the battlefield, you sacrifice it unless you sacrifice any number of creatures with total power 12 or greater.
Okay, so we have a 1-mana 12/12 that doesn't give us any extra power.
Who is it? Tell me.
Drizzt Do'Urden, because he says when a creature dies, if his power is greater than Drizzt, you put counters on equal to the difference. 1 mana, boop, send it to the graveyard. Drizzt is now a 12/12 with double strike, and that's a kill.
That is literally a kill. This is a 1 mana. If you can sneak this through, you win. You literally, you don't win. You kill somebody. You knock them out of the game, and that puts you one step closer to winning. That takes your chances from 25 to 33%. Those are some good upgrades.
I mean, if you make a Drizzt unblockable, you kill the player in second place, and you still have a 12/12 double strike Drizzt. I like it more than the Virals because it's like, oh, cute. I put 12 counters on something. Like, that's good. But this is, I'm going to kill somebody.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers in the deck. Next, we have Darkest Hour.
Classic.
Which says all creatures are black.
Cool.
What?
Another spell that cares about... Back then, they loved tinkering with what color these spells and creatures are.
They really
this is worth a card, right?
They really... there's a lot of old cards that do this stuff,
yeah.
and it's just so useless. It just doesn't do anything. It's not good at all.
Back then, there was things like, whenever a black creature comes into play, its controller takes 70 damage because they wanted to do the color pie hating thing. It was so funny.
Yeah, but where this is good is Teysa Orzhov Scion. What she says is that whenever a black creature you control dies, you get a 1/1 white spirit. Now that means that we can sacrifice these spirits to
anything,
literally anything to pay them off. And then guess what? We get another spirit because they're black-white. It adds black to their color. Actually, no, wait. It just makes them black. It's not addition, is it?
Just creatures are black.
Creatures are black. So it just makes this white spirit, and then, boop, it's gone. Come, get a new one. Back, new one.
This is a classic one. I remember the professor coming out with a video about his Teysa deck, like 5 years ago or something. And this was just like, back when Commander was young. And this is still a janky combo that will obviously get the job done.
This is a little janky, but it's still very good. You add any sack outlet that does anything, and you're just going off. If you have a Viscera Seer, you scry till, you get whatever card you want on top of your deck.
That's called Vampiric Tutor, where I'm from.
That is, yeah, it turns your Viscera Seers into Vampiric Tutors. This 2-card combo also wins with, our favorite sack outlets in the whole world.
No, your favorite sack outlets? My favorite sack outlets.
Ours.
Yeah, the whole time. Altar of Dementia is like one of the best sack outlets in the whole format because it turns 2-card interactions into 3-card wins, and not 3-card interactions with a 4-card win, like with a Blood Artist or something. You takes Viscera Seer plus Blood Artist and just goes boop, all in the same card, and you just win. This card sucks. This combo is great, and it should go in this deck.
Making creatures black is so bad.
Flavor text, nothing.
It pretty much has nothing except in this deck where it says something.
Well, you have the thing is you have Vidalcan Orrery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you Gontied their Expropriate, right? Nope. You Gontied their Agent of Treachery, and you go to cast Agent of Treachery at instant speed, and they go Red Elemental Blast, and you go in response, flash in Darkest Hour. Idiot.
Doesn't work.
No, they wait until the agent entered the battlefield.
I
gotta make this work. I just set up 4 cards to have Darkest Hour do anything.
And it still didn't work unless
they misplay. It involves a misplay.
It involves a misplay, a literal misplay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, next we have Assault Suit, which you equip to a creature, and on each player's upkeep, they get control of this creature, but they can't sacrifice it, and it has to attack a player that's not you. Okay, that's not very good.
This is the early days of Commander when they were like, "Hey guys, you interested in this?" And everybody went, "Not really."
Okay, so this doesn't sound very good, right? Well, because it's not. It's actually.
What do you mean? They were like 12 into this. You're like, this one's not good.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good to you, does it? Well, it shouldn't because it's very bad. But if you put it on this man, Grismold the Dread Sower.
Oh boy,
this is such a chef's kiss. It is amazing in this deck. At the beginning of your end step, each player gets a 1/1 plant, and whenever tokens die, he gets +1 counters, and he gets just trample. This makes it so now not just your end step, but now that guy has control of it. It's his end step, and then the next guy, it's his end step, and his end step. Everyone's getting 4 of these, and they're dying because they're trying to block this thing with it. If you all you have to do is cast anything like, well, actually another bad card that's good in Grismold, Illness in the Ranks.
It creates 16 tokens per turn cycle, and as long as you can manage them, Grismold's never going away. So not only is everybody taking incremental damage when Grismold grows, you get your whole game plan is on basically 4 times as many times, 4 times as much, and you're just feeling amazing.
Yeah, free roll. Yeah, and free extra card for you guys today. Illness in the Ranks in Grismold. Actually a good card because now Grismold just says at the end step, he gets 4 counters.
Okay.
That's pretty dang strong, too. And there's 4 death triggers, potentially, for your Blood Artist.
And random hoser on anyone playing tokens.
So stupid.
It sucks to be you, I guess. All right, really we got a Horseshoe Crab. And we know Horseshoe Crab is like, what are you setting up with Horseshoe Crab? Not much. We actually don't care about Horseshoe Crab. We just want Experiment Crage to take its ability, and then Horseshoe Crab can go wherever it wants. But as long as we get the activated ability of Horseshoe Crab on Experiment Crage, we can now untap it, to keep using other stupid abilities, like maybe if it taps for 2 mana, and then we can play blue to untap it, or in business. Because Experiment Garage has the abilities of things it puts counters on.
It's just so when there's as long as there's +1/+1 counters on the Horseshoe Crab, it's got its ability. I mean, 2-card combo with Incubation Druid, a card that would just go in Experiment Cross decks anyway. That's infinite mana.
Cool.
Right there.
I like it.
It was that easy. It's infinite of all colors. You make infinite blue, then you make infinite of another color, and you go crazy and you win the game right there. Because if you don't win with infinite mana, your deck might be a little built wrong.
I mean, you also have infinite activations of Experiment Garage. You just need Prodigal Sorcerer and you win.
Now, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. That's the 4-card combo of the year. Experiment Crash counters on all 3 of these next creatures, which is Horseshoe Crab, Incubation Druid, and Prodigal Sorcerer.
There are some who call me Tim. All right. There's 2 more, and this is the Is It one, the entry. Forbid. I remember when Forbid was like, at least in the circle that I was around, it was like this boogeyman card. It's like, oh, he's so far ahead. He has Forbid. We can't catch up. It's like, ugh, it's cancel. Discard 2 cards to just get it back to your hand. It's like, that does not cut the cheese anymore. But in Riel, what if it said cancel, but you discard 2 and then you just get the 2 back and then it goes back to your hand? Now that is a lot different because Riel, when you discard cards for the first time, you draw that many.
It's insane. I mean, this card is completely bonkers in the deck. This is a 3-mana counterspell that goes, which is not good.
No.
It's not good. But what if it always went back to your hand every single time with almost no downside?
But it's upside because you get to filter. You can take the 2 worst cards out and replace them with 2 cards off the top of your deck.
Riel's just an insanely strong Magic card.
Yeah,
she can take. That's what's so cool about most of these commanders. They're unique and strong enough in a way that they can take crap and just turn it into absolute poop in the scoop. That's I really like that.
Turn poops into scoops.
You take your pile of steaming poop and make them
steaming scoop.
Steaming pile of scoops.
I like poops to scoops.
Poops to scoops.
It's almost like what this series will unofficially be named because I am not putting poops to scoops in a YouTube title. But maybe next time we'll be like, welcome back to Poops to Scoops.
We're going to say it in the intro of the next one, Poops to Scoops.
YouTube algorithm is really struggling now trying to identify who this video is for.
Yeah, who is this video for?
They keep saying poop, and they seem pretty happy about it.
And they're also saying scoop.
Probably show this to dog walkers?
Ice cream video?
Magic the Gathering, Magic the Gathering, Magic the Gathering.
There you go. Yeah.
Back on track.
Yeah, right back on track. Last one. Karn the Great Creator. Now, this might be another controversial one. People like this card at Commander. It has a non-symmetrical effect that says your opponents can't activate artifacts, which is decent. He's super decent. The fact is, his modes don't do anything. His plus can kill like a mana crypt.
He's a planeswalker.
Yeah, it's just not that good. He can get attacked. His minus is flavor text. But what if his minus wasn't flavor text?
How would that happen?
Well, we have Osgir, the Reconstructor. He exiles artifacts from the graveyard to make 2 of them. Perfect. Literally perfect. Because now we exile it, get 2 of it, and then we put the new one in our hand, giving Karn an actual functional mode within the deck. That makes Karn that much better. That means his static ability, which is pretty good, is positive, now becomes a static ability with actual text outside of that. And that makes this card go from, I would probably never play it, to, woo, I'm all in. This is great.
Sometimes Karn is part of like Mycosynth Lattice combos, but that's a little like...
I'll do it in this deck.
How do I want to say it? What's the word? Dangerous, flimsy. It's like you're playing 2 mediocre cards so that they go infinite with each other. So that we want the Stony Silence to be like the upside. And what we're actually playing is basically Tameo, Collector of Tales, where it's just 2 Eternal Witnesses before you cash him in or he dies to combat damage. And that's pretty sweet, especially when Osgir's making critical copies of things that really matter. Like, all right, Ugin's Nexus or something, we're going ham.
Yeah, also really cool about Karn, the Great Creator, in this deck, and like you would put a Mycosynth Lattice now. Like you
might as well.
You might as well. You could put in that combo, and now you're in red. You have Osgir. You can also put in Vandal Blast. Mm-hmm. Now that's another combo, and you can just kind of build a lot of incidental combos within this deck, and that's why Osgir is just a great card. He's very, very powerful on his own.
Design.
And like the fact is, I love that he powers up Karn, who would be just super medium otherwise.
Yeah, totally. But that is our full suite of cards. I would recommend if you are looking for more of the Poops to Scoops without that title, you can go check out, there's 3 shorts, I think, now that we've done on it. They're just terrible cards that are finally good somewhere, and we talk about in much shorter detail.
Yes. So special shout outs to every single one of our patrons. We love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. You guys are awesome. You're the life blood of this channel. You keep the blood pumping in this channel.
This is you guys.
You're really veiny right now.
I'm really veiny right now.
I don't know if the camera can pick that up.
It can't, but I'm really veiny. I've been told this before. Okay, say that for a tidbit. TCG player link in the description. You can buy the cards you want, fuel the addiction you need to fuel, and then we get a kickback on the order. No extra charge of you. Same is true of Dragon Shield, EU or US link. They're all in the description. The description is a magical wonderland of links that you can click to support the nerds while buying stuff you need at the same price.
Yeah, pretty awesome. We also have a Discord. You can come hang out with us. It is free to enter that Discord, and you just get to come chill with the Nitpicking Nerds, baby.
Just be a reasonable person. That's all I ask. And my tidbit?
Yes, you have to be a reasonable person. And before you get into your tidbit.
Oh, you got a tidbit?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Using the stack of tidbits?
I'm using the stack. Yeah, I'm overriding your tidbit. Because people tried to tell us more than one, 2 or 3, tried to tell us that us talking about how we're uncomfortable around guns and they don't make us feel safe, they make us feel unsafe, was a political opinion.
People commented on that? I didn't see that. What?
I deleted most.
This is the first time hearing of it.
I deleted a couple of them because they were very rude.
That's the goofiest
stuff
I've ever heard.
One person said it nicely. They're like, I don't like the political stuff at the end of your videos, but I'm personally going to keep watching, but I understand why some people might not like it. And it was not even political. We mentioned nothing about laws. We mentioned nothing about opinions. We literally just said, guns make us uncomfortable. And they do. And then somebody said that, tried to make a point that guns weren't just for killing. I want you, dead serious. What is a gun's function if not killing?
It's really good as a paperweight. If you're looking to add a little spice to your life, oh, hey, there's a gun over there.
Regardless of anything, I'm not having the political conversation.
I promise you don't know what our opinions are. But it's just I feel like that's pretty reasonable to say that I'm uncomfortable around what is not even hyperbolically called a killing machine.
It is literally a weapon for killing. It has no other function.
Or at least that's the main function. I mean, if you're using it another way, you're probably using it wrong. And if you're going to say critically injured, then I'm going to say it's the same thing.
Exactly. It's
we're not going to share. We're not going to go on a random political rants at the end. Anything we have ranted about at the end of the videos, I promise it's really not that political. We're not trying to divide people or get
the worst thing we've said is that we think you should wear a mask.
We think you should wear a mask, and I'm a little uncomfortable around guns. I mean, if you can pull anything from that, I don't know. You're probably Sherlock Holmes.
You could probably pull out what our gun opinion about is. It doesn't matter. It's that's not what this is about.
Pushing that.
I'm not pushing it at all. I'm just literally saying a gun that literally. So this is the gun. All it takes is, and you could die. That makes me uncomfortable to be
uncomfortable around cliffs.
I'm also uncomfortable around cliffs. Is that political?
Anyway,
that is the.
It probably is.
That is a new political thing.
Okay, mine was way less dramatic. It's just some people have said that veins in the arm is hot. I don't know if anyone else has heard that. Did you hear that at all? Someone said
no.
Veins are they just do it for them, and I was I've heard that from multiple people now, and I'm just really? I don't even look for veins.
The only veins tend to show up in people that are skinny and people who are muscular.
I got both, so that's good.
Yeah, I think veins get hidden behind fat. Well, my arms aren't even that fat, but I think it does get hidden behind fat.
Let us know if veins turn you on.
Yeah, and if Joe's hands are fat, which they're not.
Pick either one of those tidbits to respond to.
You know what? Peace out, Tribe Scouts.